we're now going to go through a summary of all the transformations. So knowledge of the basic shapes coupled with knowledge of transformations allows you to sketch any exponential graph. So the graph of y is equal to a to the x is transformed to this by what? So it wants us to write down what transformation is happening here. Before we do that, I just want you to think about this in terms of function notation. So this is saying we're starting with f of x, and what we're doing is we're multiplying f of x by a factor of k. So the entire function is being multiplied by a factor of k. Now, what does that mean? What that means is that we're performing a dilation by a factor of k from, now this is the important part, the x-axis. That's what it's saying to us. All right, let's now move on to the next one. So here, we've got nx. So what's that saying? That's saying that we're starting with some function, and then instead of x, we've got nx here. That's telling me that I'm dilating by a factor of the reciprocal of n from the y-axis. So let me come here. Dilation by a factor of 1 on n from the y-axis. So make sure you get that right. All right, we continue on here. Now this is saying that we've got f of x, and then, as you can see, we're plussing or minusing b from the x. So this would be f x plus or minus b. That means we've got a horizontal shift happening here, or to think about it another way, is a translation in x direction. So moving it left or right. That's not how you spell direction. Let me try that again. Direction. Perfect. Now, let's just think about this, because this is normally where some people get a little confused. So let's put i.e. If I had 2 to the x plus 1, what that means is left 1. Because remember, plussing 1 here means you're moving it in the negative direction. When if I had 2 to the x minus 3, what does that mean? That means to the right 3. So just don't get confused with the pluses or minuses there. All right, then the lucky last here. So this is when I'm taking the entire thing and adding it or subtracting it by c. So that means I'm starting with some function here. Whoops, I'm starting with some function. And then I'm going to take that function and plus or minus by c. That's moving it up or down. So that is a translation in y direction. So up or down, y direction. And we'll go through some examples here. So i.e. again. So let's talk about if I had 2 to the x and I plussed 2 to it. What does that mean? That means up to. So this one, there's no tricks. Plus means up, negative means down. And if I was to minus 4 to it, that means I would go down 4. There's just one extra thing I want you to take note of for this very last translation here. And that is, let's put a little asterisk. It is going to translate the asymptote. Will translate asymptote. So just make sure you've got that under wraps. Okay, that is a nice little summary of the transformations. Hopefully you found this helpful. I'll see you in the next part.